Recommitment is the easiest yet most difficult thing we'll ever do. Are you raising your hand? I'll leave a question. Wait till the end. But this retreat is, and if you don't realize it yet, maybe you will, it's very rare and it's very special. The first time I ever did something like this was Solely. We've talked about it 1,000 times here, right? Solely was a experience for me, but it gave me an opportunity to more or less showcase my recommitment. I'll get into my testimony here in just a little bit, but something stuck out to me at that retreat, and it was one of the speakers said that in law enforcement, they use, obviously, radio 10 signals for everything, right? This particular speaker was speaking about 1019 meant like an ambulance is needed. 1032 is someone has a gun, and 1012 is stand by. But he said, 1020 is defined as where are you? But you're 20. That's where that comes from. And that can be used in a lot of different ways. He asked us several times, what's your 20? Where are you at in life? Where are you when you walk with Jesus? Then at the end of the speech, you understood why he was saying it like that, because that date was October 20th. Randomly. That was the date I was absolved. And it was a very impactful moment for me, because I'm one of those what's the odds of that? This is a coincidence. But in my short spiritual walk, I was learning that early recommitment process. To capture that thought and say, well, maybe this is purposeful, this is meaningful. And I hope that I can open up enough to gain what the Lord is trying to tell me. So I'll ask you some questions. What's your 20? Where are you at in your walk? Where are you at in life? Are you happy? Are you confused? Are you sad? Do you understand the meaning and purpose of life and your purpose and meaning in it? Each of our paths are very, very different. But with being different individually, we can speak into each other in ways that we've never heard before. Are you closer to God today than you were yesterday? Are you a Christian but yet still struggle to shake the temptations of sin? Or is there even a secret, hidden sin that's in the dark corners of your heart that happens to be habitual and you willingly do it? Call yourself a Christian. Is it impossible to tell anyone about those dark areas of your heart? Will you allow yourself to be vulnerable? Or are you too afraid? Does fear rule your life? Does worry, anxiety, guilt, shame? Where are you at? What's your 20? Are you lukewarm? Because you do know what the Bible says about lukewarm, right? I found myself as a lukewarm Christian. And I've never read the Bible before, but yet I call myself a Christian. It wasn't until I read the actual words of what it said about lukewarm that absolutely made me praise God for His grace over that period of my life where I literally resisted Him at all costs. But yet call myself a Christian. Consider lukewarm as the warning sign for the need to recommit. I'll tell you that for a fact. So if you have your Bibles with you, let's just go. Let's just go to Revelation chapter 3, verse 15 and 17. I'll wait for everybody to get there, but I want you to really see this. Most of you probably have it highlighted already, right, Darren?
No, we don't have any time.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
3, verse 15? You said 3?
Revelation chapter 3, starting verse 15.
Verse 15.
And the whole time you read this, I want you to think, if it's even possible that you can be lukewarm. It's easy to deny that, because you can't accept that weakness or that vulnerability. You can't accept that fear because you just want to push it away. So, I'm not lukewarm, I've done this, this, and this. You turn it back into a chart, so it's a checklist.
3.
Starting at verse 15. I know your works, that you are neither hot nor cold. I wish that you were cold or hot. So because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I am going to vomit, or to spit in some other translations, you out of my mouth. For you say, I'm rich, I've become wealthy and need nothing. And you don't realize that you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. He's not talking about normal people here. He's talking about people that call themselves Christians. To call yourself a true, authentic Christian, there's a label with that. And that label speaks to your character, not your reputation. The character is what we don't see as individuals. We only get to see the person that you put out in front of us. Each of us have something going on that probably nobody knows about. Each of us have a circumstance that we're in that we might not have shared yet. But on the outside, you might appear like a good, genuine, Christ-following Christian. But God doesn't care about your reputation. He cares about your character. And I'll get into that just in a little bit later. But just know when He says you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked, that is our Father in heaven talking to the ones that He loves and that He has set a path for that they choose not to follow, but think they know otherwise. The issue with the majority of churchgoers is that they don't want to be on fire for God. They only want just a little bit of God. They want to box Him in. They want Him to be a part of their life, but they will not put Him at the center of their life. Their world does not revolve around God. It almost makes me mad to even say that. You know the very breath that you breathe, God breathed in you. Every single one of you. What a blessing it is. I don't know how many sperm are in our testicles, but I know it's like millions. And you were chosen. You were the fastest swimmer. Congratulations. Congratulations. You did it. You made it.
We're all winners.
You're all winners. Right there you defied a lot of odds. You defied a lot of odds.
Winners.
Yeah. You defied lots of odds. So what are you going to do with that life? There was a million others that could have made it, but it was you. God chose you. Nobody else. When we just settle for a little bit of God in our lives, it shows that we are yearning for a lot more things, a lot more stuff. It's easy for those normal churchgoers to say, well, I mean, I want God, obviously. I go to church, but it's good for my morals. It's good for my family. It's good for my kids. It's good for my business. You know, God is good, and I have just enough God in my life right now. But I'll tell you what I don't have. Let's focus on that. I don't have enough money. I don't have a big enough house. I don't have the fastest car on the drive. I just don't have enough stuff. I need more of that. I got enough God, but I need more stuff. But that's what satisfies me. Too often we look at God like He's this mythical being just far off in the abyss. And we treat Him that way too. Like what we see and touch and feel, like David said earlier, is tangible, that holds more value. That's more significant. Because we can see it, we can touch it, we can feel it. How many of us have said that? How many of us have felt that way? Right? We've all been through it. I've been through it. Probably worse than a lot of you. Too often we just say that I'm good with my relationship with God. I mean, hey, it's better than it was. Right? I go to church. You know, I give a little. I tithe. I do this rather than I do that. The real question is, what are you not doing? What are you not doing for God? Because He's doing everything for you. He's literally letting you breathe and live every second. And why is it that we hate for anyone to challenge us to be on fire for God? We don't like challenge. We're men, right? We're the challengers. Step up to me, I'll fight you like love. You know, we're challengers. Don't challenge me, I'll challenge you right back. Do you understand what that passage means? That lukewarm is actually disgusting to God, that He will use the word vomit and spit. It's that disgusting. It's not like saying, well, yeah, I heard about you, God, but now I'm not getting into that. He's like, no, you should actually rather be that. Don't be the Christian that's going to show up and say, I'm on this side of the fence today, but no, I'm over here tomorrow. Now I got it figured out. Don't be that Christian. Because God will vomit you out of His mouth. That's how disgusting you are to Him. That's how nasty it is. Yet we get so upset when people challenge us on that. But yet those very people that are challenging us on that, are actually showing us a lot of love. They're showing care, concern. Whether it be from a person's mouth, or a book you read, or a sermon on YouTube that you listen to. Don't let it annoy you. How can anyone be content and okay with saying, well, I'm an okay Christian? How can you live with that when you know at the end result that God's going to literally vomit you out of his mouth? I picture it like God's looking at us and saying, you're comparing me to all this stuff that you don't have? Like that's what the comparison is? I mean, I'm giving you life, but yet you want a bigger boat? Like really? That's what's more important? A boat that won't have any eternal significance? We're comparing the worldly things we desire to the creator of existence, the creator of life itself. Now let's go to verse 19. When Jesus says so harshly and so strongly, he says, those whom I love, I rebuke and I discipline. So be earnest and repent. Well, why is God saying that? Why is he saying that? I picture you saying it like this. It's because I love you. I don't want to spit you out of my mouth. You understand? I love you. So I'm speaking to you so harshly. And why I'm rebuking you. Do you understand? And then I'm going to discipline you too. Because I love you. I'll have things happen in your life that get your attention, that can draw you back to me. You're lukewarm. And you know how this is going to end. I'll spit you out of my mouth because it's repulsive to me. It's repulsive when you ask the question whether I'm worthy of everything when you compare me to your stuff. You compare me to your false securities and your idols. It blows me away that some of us realize that we just might be lukewarm. Yet we still choose to walk away and not think anything of it. Pass it off as a bad thought. We do nothing about it. I'll tell you what even terrifies me even more. Men, it terrifies me to think that some of us in this room right now are thinking that they're not going to do nothing about it. Woo! Got real. How many of you do that? Every day. You're like, yeah, I'm probably not the best Christian I could be. Yeah, I'll do this again. Oh, it's just, life's had time again. It's just one time. I'll be forgiven for it. I hope, out of love, I hope you know it's out of love. I hope if anyone is in it for that way, I hope you're convicted. Because that's how you gain salvation. That's how you don't get vomited out of God's mouth. That's disgusting. He loves you so much, he gave you life itself. Don't make him spit you out. We all have flaws, a struggle, a burden, a sickness. Some known and others unknown. Before I became a true, authentic Christian, I had several flaws, several struggles, burdens, sicknesses. God was not a part of my life. But when he came knocking on my door on July 8th, 2018, I had no choice but to enter. And I called myself a Christian at that time. But yet I did not know God. My testimony is hard to talk about, so I'm going to ask for your grace, please. It's very raw, it's very real, but I need to tell it. That's what the Bible tells me to do. So, I tell it. I was raised like a lot of us in here, in church. I grew up First Christ. Went to church every single time the doors opened. I had more Sunday dress clothes than I did any other clothes. And what I mean by Sunday dress clothes, for those who don't know, it's literally your best attire. Tie, button up, khakis or slacks, dress shoes, whatever it was. You can think about wearing nothing else. I'm grateful for that time of growing up into the church because there was a seed planted. And that seed, fortunately, and so graciously, was watered. Off and on, it dried out a couple times. But it's definitely blooming today. But I am the oldest of, I guess it's 4 siblings now, but it was just No, 3 kids. And then I met my biological father when I was 24 for the first time and found out that I had 2 twin sisters. So, yeah, I guess I'm the oldest of 5 siblings. But on my mom's side, which is where the majority of my life I grew up, she was a single mom working 2 jobs, supporting 3 kids. All different dads. Mama had a lot of fun. In fact, I'm the product of a good night myself. I was born a mistake. I was a mistake. My dad was the DJ at a club, and my mom was the lucky lady that night. It just so happened to dance right to get his attention. I'm the product of cocaine, alcohol, and good times. Ta-da! It's me. It's probably why my mind's like a squirrel. I blame him for that. That's a joke. But being the oldest, I had to learn a lot of responsibilities to help my mom out growing up. Dishes, cooking dinner, bus stops, not just for myself, but for my sisters, my 2 younger sisters. I had to learn basically how to be a caretaker for my caretaker. We had nothing growing up. Nothing. We were so poor that we were those people that would go actually grocery shop at the food pantry at church. We were those people. Has anybody ever done that?
At the what?
Yeah.
The food pantry at church. Our church had a food pantry, and they donated to the food pantry for people that were in need. And once a week, we got to go over there and pick out what we wanted. It was free. Mom lived paycheck to paycheck. She wasn't the smartest woman. She was a loving woman, but she made some pretty difficult decisions. Decisions that led to some turmoil and some remorse, and definitely some hardships for her children, me being one of them, obviously. I'll never forget the breaking moment for me to realize the situation what my mom was in. I was in 4th grade, asked them to go to the skate center. Cole knows all about that. Couldn't wait to get out there and he's trucking, you know. Anyway, squirrel, told you. When I heard my mom say words to me, I don't have any money to take you this week. I'm like, okay, just get out of your savings. She's like, we have no savings. None. In fact, we're overdrawn. I'm like, what does that mean? She says, we actually owe them money that we don't have. We're that bad. But I got to go to work this evening, so you have to stay home with your sisters. I set everything out for you to cook dinner and call me if you need anything. I remember going to my room sitting there thinking, how can adults not have a savings account? But that was the most impactful. And then I started looking around the house. I noticed, we ain't got no doors on anything. No food, nothing. So I felt very robbed. But out of that growing up burden, she did take me to church, and that's where I met one of the most wonderful families in my life. I have a God family. They are Dan and Thelma Pope. And Dan, I met him when I was 4 years old, and he's the man that I call my dad. I didn't know my dad growing up. This man showed me more love, and patience, and grace, and discipline, and wisdom than any other man I've ever known. That's why it's easy for me to talk to women. It's all been around my whole life. So Dan and his son Daniel were the only men I ever had in my life. Ever. He was a deacon at a church. He not only helped me in life, but he also helped my mother out. I remember once, Daniel came to the house, and he asked for cereal, and I had to tell him that I didn't want to, because I don't want that image out there to say, I'm sorry, we don't have any milk. And he was blown away like I was about the savings account. He's like, who doesn't have milk? I'm like, I know, sorry. But when his parents came and picked him up, my godparents took him home, and then about 15 minutes later, he knocked the door. And it was my dad, my godfather. And he handed my mom $200 right there. Tells her to go grocery shopping. And it was the first time I saw true heartfelt benevolence, because I know he meaningly did not want anything back. That was just out of the goodness of his heart. I watched her sit there and cry, but it also made me cry. Because I cried, sitting there knowing that a man who doesn't know me, it's not my dad, decided to help my mom and my sisters out. So it taught me a lot. And one of the greatest blessings from him is his sweet wife, Thelma. And Thelma was my mama number 2. I actually called her mama, and I called my mom. I'd spend summers there. Daniel, my godbrother, was actually a NASCAR driver. And at the peak of our careers, he got to drive for Kevin Harvick in a Crash and Truck Series. And it was pretty awesome. That was really cool. But Thelma was the rock to that family. There wasn't a day that went by that I didn't see that woman in her Bible. There wasn't a day that went by that she didn't show somebody love, grace, or make them fried okra. There wasn't a day that didn't go by that she didn't invite you to her house. That woman was the epitome of a loving, caring mother. And I knew her my entire life. So we'll fast forward to when we're going through life as we all did. High school, college, drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, no rock and roll. A lot of hangover stuff. It's pitiful to live a life like that, but you think that's your only life and that's what's fun, that's what's joyful, right? Yet, when I got to go to college, my dad, my godfather, I'll say both so you can keep understanding it now, decided he was going to pay for my college. The only thing I had to do was go to church. Every time the door was open. Twice on Sundays, once on Wednesdays. So what did I do? Duh. I'm going to church. What did I not do? I didn't go to class. I partied up. I can't tell you how many times I've sat in church either stoned or drunk. Just because I knew I had to be there to keep going and having fun. Until the second semester at MTSU when I got caught plagiarizing and I got expelled. Just like that. That's a very hard conversation to have with him. Because it wasn't that he was mad at me. He just did not know that lifestyle. He didn't understand why I would do those things. And that he loved me too much to actually turn me away. He had every right to. There's no blood relation there. Just a wonderful man. So, what did he do? He recommitted to me. He enrolled me in another college. Paid for my college. Again. I ended up getting a radiologic technology degree. Been doing that for a little while. Dan was also the first person. He gave me my first truck when I turned 16. I was actually in the process of cleaning the mold and grime off of my mom's 93 Chevy Cavalier. 4-door. White. It was ugly as homemade sin, but I could not care. It rolled. So, as I'm cleaning it, my brother Daniel knew what was coming. Daniel shows up in his truck, looks at me, tosses me the keys. Brand new truck, decked out. It was awesome. I had never felt that before in my life. It was like, wow, I finally have something of value. Something. But what I didn't realize is that he was teaching me values by being so valuable. And I found out later that a lot of these good things happened because he had a conversation with Thelma. And Thelma always had my back. No matter what. My godmother was so sweet, there's nothing that I couldn't do to where she wouldn't tell Dan, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. We're going to basically recommit to him because he has a tough life. Why not? He deserves it. He's a child of God just like we are. So when I finally met my wife, now Kinsey, and we didn't have children for 5 years. And it was June 3rd, 2015. And here comes little Arlie. Big old chunk of a baby. I don't know how she came out still. Ruined her. But I was so excited for that day. You know, I was still partying. I was still smoking pot and drinking and being working in the medical field, you know. But there was no church. I would go and Kenzie wanted me to go, but not really. There's no relationship. I knew the stories of of God in the Bible. I never studied it. I knew what was right and what was wrong. I just didn't understand the relationship and why. So on that day, I was like, all right, God, I'm going to pray to you for the first time in a long time. I pray for my child. I pray for Kinsey. I pray for my family. I pray for myself. To say this is a whole new beginning with a child as scary as ever. Like I'm going to need you now. So things were good that day. Kinsey was in labor for about 32 hours. It's awesome. Not really. I remember checking in that morning for us to have a baby. Not the baby. My baby. But we sign in. It's 6 a.m. Those double doors open. We're the first ones on the floor of St. Thomas Hospital to have babies that day. So we had to pick whatever room we wanted. But when those double doors open and we look, I see my godmother and my godfather walking the hall looking for us. 6 a.m. already. They were the first ones there, even before we were. They were that excited. This wasn't even their grandchild. But it was. In God's eyes. It's like, for me, I was an adopted son into their family. It was wonderful. But with Kinsey being in labor for 32 hours, we got to spend all day with them. I'm closer to them than I am my own family. But the cool thing was, because I'm close with Kinsey's family too, was to see those two families bond. That was awesome. And my mama was there. And please don't take this the wrong way. I love my actual mom. She's wonderful. It's just different upbringing and some choices that I didn't agree with. But she was there, and it was really cool to see like 3 families that I have all combined at once. Having fun, laughing, talking, joyful, excited, just like we are. So here comes Arlie knocking, and we have the baby, and sitting there watching Kinsey, kind of nurse her. But the problem was, Kinsey has a lot of complications during her surgery, to the point to where she could feel everything as they were doing the C-section. Like I'm in there watching, she just comes right off the table like an exorcism. And so they literally just start pumping these drugs in her. And then she would wake up, pass out, wake up, pass out. She did it for about an hour. So after we had Arlie, Arlie was just screaming, crying, needing to eat, So I'm holding this baby, and my wife's passed out, and I'm like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. And then I remember when she started having some breathing problems, I'm like, is this for real? And they're like, yeah, we're just going to monitor it, but why don't you go ahead and tell the family to come in and say hi to the baby, say goodbyes. It was like 2:30 in the morning. So I'm like, okay, sure. So I go out and get the family one by one. It was her family, and then I did my mom, my side of the family, my aunts and stuff. And then I did my god family coming in last, my other mom and dad. And they did something that none of the other families did. They come in and immediately prayed. They also immediately grabbed Arlie, his son did. And I'll never forget Dan, my godfather, holding me, crying. I've never seen this man cry before in my life until this day. He's crying, I'm crying, and he's telling me there's nothing more beautiful than having a child. Now you will know what love is like, and you will know exactly why I love him. And so while this is happening, I'm watching Thelma hold Arlie, and Arlie was screaming, crying because she's so hungry. Her mom's over here passed out, enjoying herself. Rocking her like this and singing Amazing Grace. And Arlie stops crying. Literally, stops crying. And I'm like, well, you're not leaving. And she comes over to me and hands her off to me. She's like, she's beautiful, you're gonna make a great dad. We're gonna go ahead and head home, and I'll bring you Chick-fil-A biscuits in the morning. I'm like, God bless you, woman. Everything I need. So they leave, and it's just me and this crying naked baby and my overdosed wife. So Kinsey started having some pretty serious complications though. And what it was she actually stopped breathing for a whole 2 minutes and 17 seconds, to where they dropped the table, they did one chest compression, and she came back, started breathing, but her breaths were like once every 30 seconds. And so then they were afraid that they had actually gave her too much for her system. So I'm just freaking out, but I'm crying out to God, and I'm holding this screaming baby. And I'm like, man, I really need your help right now. So, what normally happens? My godparents show up. So I get a phone call, look at it, it's my godfather calling me. And I'm like, I don't know if I should answer. I got so much going on right now, but I'm like, maybe I should. So I answer it. And on the other end of that phone call was a sound that I've never ever experienced hearing before. But it was him basically telling me that on the way home, my mom had a heart attack and passed away. Same day. My daughter's birthday is the same day as my mother's death day. Within 15 minutes. I just collapsed to the floor. Kinsey was still having problems. The nurses, saw that I was in distraught and asked me what happened. I explained to them. They were even freaking out. And then they actually shut the floor down while we were around that side and brought in a therapist for me. I was an emotional wreck, to say the least. I remember calling Kinsey's parents and telling them they needed to come back. I remember when Kinsey woke up, I could tell her. And then I remember when they got over there, I just needed to go be alone for a minute. That was a lot to process. So I went out to my truck, and I'd never been so mad about my life. I cussed him. And I lashed out at him, and I told him that this is how you don't exist, because bad things happen to good people, and this was not supposed to happen to me today, because this was the best day of my life, but you made it the worst day of my life. You're not reminded by my daughter's same day as birth, my mother's the same day as death. Thanks for nothing. I'm done. That was it. That was it. And that's how my life was for the next 3 years. 3 years. I had zero relationship with God. If anything, and Tyson can testify to this, he would try to have these Bible studies at his house. And Shane came once. I was the devil's advocate there. I went because my wife really wanted to go, and because my daughter loves their kids so much they get to play. But when they were there, all I'd do was just point out things and flaws and question things to just stir them up. Basically, I was still mad. So, at this time, I met my biological father. We have an okay relationship. His name is Chad, fortunately, so I can call him my Chad. He's not my dad. I didn't know who he was, but now he's my Chad. But he owns a debt collection corporation, and so I actually finished with my business degree up in Ohio, and when we moved back to Tennessee, I went to work for his family business. It was a good job. It was a great job. It didn't pay that great, but it was comfortable. He was the president and CEO. My grandfather, on that side, who I also just met, was the president and CEO. Started the business back in '83. It's a very successful business, and once my dad met me, we built up a pretty good relationship, enough for him to tell me that within the next 10 to 15 years he wants me to be set in his seat. So for a kid that had nothing growing up, seeing the value of money, and not understanding why parents don't have savings accounts, you can understand why I hopped on that wagon real quick. You mean I get to be a CEO? They're going to make a movie about me. Tyler Perry, where you at? That's what you do. So, I lived a life of 9 to 5, desk job, got to be the boss, tell people what to do. But it wasn't fulfilling like I thought it would be. In fact, it was horrible. Think about working for a debt collection company. What do you do when somebody calls you to collect $1? Yeah, thanks. I'm just holding you accountable. I never made the calls. I actually had my agents do that, but still very tough. So Kinsey and I, before I got to finish my college degree, we turned our first daughter home to an investment property. And that's where we learned the true worth of real estate, and that it was something that we had a passion for. So in the summer of 2017, I decided to go get my real estate license, because I was really wanting to get out of the debt collection field. So I did. And we got my license, and I got my first time, just like right out of the gate. Our CFO was going through a divorce, unfortunately, but fortunately for me, and needed to sell his house. Like as soon as I got my license, like the next day, he's like, "Can we do it now?" I'm like, "Yep." Put it on the market, get an all cash offer to appraisal, with price $255,000. Yeah, yeah. 24 days later, I just get a $5,700 check or something like that. Well, what I felt like I did nothing for. And I was like, well, this is awesome. But I wouldn't know, I know now, but I didn't know then that that would be the actual easiest job of real estate I've ever done. Never had one like that again. I think there was a meaning behind that, and I'll get to that. But what it did do is it put that taste in my mouth for wanting that something more. I was discontent. I needed that. So, I signed up to do ads and market shares and zip codes. It was going to cost me $800 a month. And I had 0 clients. So I was committed to this contract for 2 years. Months went by, not a lot. But what I was doing is I was missing out on a lot of leads because of my 9-to-5 job. I was paying $800 a month for 24 people to call me every week wanting to meet them to go see houses during hours that I could not see them. So what did I do? I walked in to my dad's office, not talking to my wife about it, quit my job. So I'm going full bore into this real estate thing. I gotta give it a shot. Because my only way of thinking was, I gotta justify that $800 I'm spending every month. And they're calling me, they're doing what it's supposed to do, but I can't meet them when I need to meet them because of this job. So this thing is a burden. So I removed it. Wife was thrilled. Really happy when I got home. This was right before Christmas. And I'll never forget sitting in the driveway. And we weren't doing great then either. We were okay, but there was a lot that she needed from me that I wouldn't give her. So I remember sitting in the driveway that night with this crying baby in the back. And Kenzie is crying, and she tells me, I can't believe you've done this for our family, that I want you to know something. If you fail, and we fail as a family, I want you to know it's all your fault. Yeah. Bam.
No pressure.
Walks out, gets out of the car, gets the baby, goes into the house. So what does a guy like that in that situation do? Smoke a couple bowls, drank about a 12-pack in the garage, and whittle. Whittles. There's a purpose to it, but it's not. It was just random. So that was my escape. That's what I did. But I also built the fire in me to say, I'm going to prove you wrong. Watch how I can do this. And I did. 2018 came, started getting deal after deal after deal. And then I got I guess I can't tell the secrets, I want you to steal it. I'm just kidding. I had a niche where I had 5 closings in 1 month, and the next month I had 4. And I had nothing. I had made $60,000 in 2 months. I was like, this is incredible. But then I didn't have anything. So it's really awesome when you're going through it. Once you get to the end of that road, and you got nothing in front of you, you're like, well, we're back to square one. That $6,000 isn't going to last so long. Plus, I got to take taxes out of that. So, I was called by a friend of mine, and he referred me to a client that was selling her hospital in Chattanooga, and she was disabled, and her husband had Parkinson's. So what did I do? Yeah, I'll take this job. I got nothing else to do. In fact, your house needs a lot of work. I'll do all the work for you, free of charge, no labor. You pay for the spots. We'll make it nicer than the market value in your neighborhood. We'll sell it at a higher price, so you can get more money for it. Because I got the time, I got the tools, and I got the skills and knowledge required to do it. You want to do that? They were blown away. Yeah, let's do it. I did it. House was awesome. We actually sold it for $60,000 higher than we expected. Above market, believe it or not. It was so good that I remember getting letters from people in that neighborhood actually thanking me for raising my appreciation values. We're talking about pride issues. That's what set it in for me. Not only was it good in that aspect, but also this lady who went to church told her sisters and all her friends about it. So then it got the word spread around to where I became this handyman realtor who had a niche business that, look, if your house needs a little bit of work and you ain't got time to fix it, nor can you afford it, if you can just buy the materials, I'll do it for you as long as you let me sell your house for you and then help you out doing it. It's a win-win. And that worked out really well. It worked out so well that in the year 2018, I made $125,000. I was on top of the world. Never made that much money in my life, never seen that much money in my life. But what I learned most was I'm just like my mother. There was nothing in savings. What did I do when I got more money? I spent it all. All of it. So what does that show you? It doesn't matter if you have little or a lot. The gauge of what you do in life is shown by your heart. And I was me. We did a lot of fun things. I had a lot of nice things, but it wasn't until July 8th, 2018, I'm going to show a house with a client. Granted, I have never had any health issues in my life. Never. I felt like I was hungover that morning. And I didn't drink the night before, believe it or not. So I'm showing properties, and we're out in the heat of July, obviously, and I feel very sick. I feel like I'm going to pass out. So I actually tell them that I gotta go. So I get in my truck driving, and it gets so much worse that I'm literally going to pass out. I call my wife and tell her. So she's like, "You want me to come get you?" And I said, "No, I'll just pull over to a gas station and I'll see if it gets better." Pulled over. It didn't really get better, but it definitely didn't get worse. So I was like, I can handle this. I can make it. So I get back on the road, and I'm driving down Highway 109, right as you're approaching I-40, and I went into what they call an episode. And I had a full body seizure, but I was cognitively awake and clear to where every muscle in my body seized up and cramped up from my toes to my calves to my muscles I didn't know I had. My neck, my everything seized up. I think about this, I'm driving down the road. I can't even grab the steering wheel. My mind and my body are in two completely separate places. So I'm coming to a red light, and I'm like, oh crap. Well, fortunately, as the truck is going up a hill, it starts to decline or decrease in speed. My body went forward to where my little nubs could fit inside the steering wheel, and I literally just leaned. I was driving like a T-Rex. I literally just leaned to the right. I jumped a median. I crashed into a gas station, and I hit one of those concrete divider things in the gas line. Still not understanding what is happening to me, but I got everybody's attention. So they come over, open the door, obviously see I'm having a medical emergency. They call 911, and at this time it's like getting progressively worse to where I can't talk now. Like I can't even talk. My tongue's like froze up. I'm starting to lose my vision. My heart rate is through the roof. I'm losing my breath. I'm like, what is happening to me? This entire time I'm bawling and crying. I'm freaking out. I don't know if anybody's ever had an experience where you cannot control your health symptoms that could maybe be leading you to death, but it's absolutely horrifying. So I was just crying. And it was getting worse and worse. And I remember a lady there that was a nurse at Vanderbilt. She ran over and saw me, and she said, "I think he's having a stroke." And it was like the most relieving feeling, but also the most horrifying feeling. Relief in the sense that that's got to be what it is. Horrifying, and oh my gosh, I'm having a stroke. So then your brain starts thinking like, well, I'm having a stroke. I'll never gain function back on one side or the other, so I'm just weak. Just letting it do its thing. People are praying for me right there. Hands on me. Strangers. Never met any of them. Never seen them still. And as I'm just kind of like making these cry out sounds, literally bawling and basically just hyperventilating, I'll never forget, it's the first time I heard somebody talking in tongues behind me. The lady comes up from behind me, puts her hands right there, she's sitting in the back seat, and she is just talking in tongues. And it was so profound that I was even going through this thing, I'm like, did I speak in tongues? So that was my tongues moment. Being church Christ, we didn't hear that. Right there?
That's right.
So they give me the ambulance, give me to the hospital. I kind of stayed in a state of just still tremors, locked up, kind of the way I left. It just actually stopped getting worse for a moment. So they roll me into the ER, and of course they're asking me questions, but I can't answer them. And they see that, and so they start doing their work, and about that time the second episode hits. And what it felt like was that it's like I just got pushed. I was laying down. It's like I just got pushed because everything got like dark from the outside to just a center circle light, and it was my eyes. My heart rate was so high, it was at 221 beats a minute. It was to the point where they told me that I need to control myself if I can, because if I don't, then I could be at risk for a heart attack. My blood pressure was 200 and something over 170 something. Some craziness. But the most important thing was I stopped breathing. My diaphragm had also seized up. So every single muscle, literally, other than my heart, was froze up in my body to the point where I could not move it, I couldn't control it, but my mind was so clear and awake to have to experience this that was the most horrifying feeling ever. I was literally drowning without being in water, trying to take a breath, and there was nothing worse than drowning without being in water. I remember sitting there thinking, this is it. This is it. Couldn't take a breath. They're hooking me in the machine. She's actually running a breathing tube down my throat. When an atheist went to Christ. And I cried out to him and told him, if I see your face, please forgive me. Please accept me into heaven, because God, I don't want to die. This is going to be hard on my wife and my daughter. I don't want to die. Please hear my prayer. And that was it. I don't remember passing out, but I did. What I did is I had cardiac arrest. For 17 seconds, my heart was stopped. And on the 18th second, God had other plans for me. Obviously. I literally just woke up. Just like boom. And I remember everybody's running around freaking out. And the nurse there was like, he's awake. And I'm gagging. And I noticed that I reached up and grabbed the thing. I'm like, I can move. Literally everything went completely back to normal. Completely back to normal. That was an experience that I hope none of you ever have. But I can tell you today that I'm so grateful for that experience. I love that it happened to me. Because what I thought was taking my life from me actually saved my life. You know, there's a lot that goes through your mind when you are, for what you think, or on death's doorstep. A lot goes through your mind. Things that you don't even think about, things that the movies don't show you. I didn't have my life flash before my eyes. I didn't have anything like that. I did think about my wife and daughter, and those are the only two other people I thought about other than myself. I thought about myself. I prayed very selfish prayers. Prayers that I hadn't prayed in 3 years since my mom died and my daughter's birthday. When your lifetime card is punched, that is a punch to the gut like you'll never experience. Because all I knew is that the God that I know, that I was raised to believe by His standards, I'm not going to make it. I'm a hypocrite. I call myself a Christian. I'm not a Christian. So I knew where I was going to end up. I had no relationship with God whatsoever. If a man comes knocking on your door 1 in the afternoon on a Sunday, you don't know him, but he's beating on your door. You don't let him in? No. That's me beating on the door of God. He's like, I don't know you. Don't let me in my house. When I thought my lifetime card was punched, that was the most impactful moment of my life that set me on the path that I'm on today. That next Wednesday, I called, obviously Tyson was there with me, but I told him, I said, I gotta go to church. This is something. So I get done talking with him, and he tells me about the group. Tells me about Shane's group. And I'm like, well, the doctor's coming in right now, tell me whatever's going on. Just know that whenever you go, make sure I go with you. The doctor comes in, one at a time, 3 doctors come into the room. I had an internal medicine doctor, a hematologist, and the ER physician. They all sit down. They have literally like med school books in their hands. And he tells me that what I had was hypokalemia. Now Nobody knows what that is. Hypokalemia is where you have a sudden loss of potassium to the point that your body will shut down. Your muscles need potassium. The way it works is when you do a workout and you're doing bicep curls, yes, you're telling your arm to contract that muscle to bring it up to your chin. But in order to release it, you need potassium. I didn't have any. It was gone. At 2.5, you have cardiac arrest. I was 2.4. That's what my levels were. Normal is anything that's, I think, 7.0 or higher. That's how bad it was for me. I had done nothing to lose potassium. Nothing. I'd never had this experience before. No health issues, no nothing that could explain it. But what was even more crazier than that was that even if you were hypokalemic, there would be other abnormalities on your lab tests that would show that there was a cause for this. Hypokalemia and my potassium level was the only deficiency on that lab test. The only one. So they told me it was two things. It was either a flaw or it's something that we just don't understand. But my next several months we're going to be trying and testing, and we got to figure out what's wrong with you because we can't tell you that this won't happen again. So being in the emotional state I was in, I'm like, well, I don't want that to happen either. But I knew, even then I still doubted it, but I knew, I was like, this had to be a God thing. It had to be. It can't be explained by physicians and doctors. I even got to the point where I had to tape a medical emergency car on my dash, on my steering wheel, that if somebody was to find me non-responsive, it diagnoses what I have, what they need to do for me. I have medicine that they put in my tongue, push down my throat, and who to contact. That's how bad it was. And that's how fearful it was to know that this could happen at any moment of any time. So for the next several months, I saw 12 medical professionals, all the way from hematologists, metabolic specialists, my primary care, endocrinologist, neurologist, you name it, I've seen. Every single one of them. They all drawn the same conclusion. This is not scientifically possible to happen. They don't teach this in med school. I don't know. So, I kept saying, but I do. My God is faithful. My God is grace and mercy and love, and I can't wait to get to know Him. So that first Wednesday I came to group. I remember sitting in there, horrified. Never done something like this before, completely out of my comfort zone. But I knew, and Thomas, you said this earlier when we were talking, I knew that my self-will would have never led me there. It had to be God's will. And if I wanted to not find myself in that situation, but if I did find myself in that situation, be okay where I was going to end up, this is what I needed to do. So I sucked it up and I went. And at first, to be honest with you, I thought it was a porn addiction, drug, alcohol class. I cannot believe the things these men were saying out loud. I'm like, you know, they're Tyson. I probably bumped him 1,000 times after that. Does he know who's talking out loud? But hearing those stories and all that, Shane, as he so lovingly does, calls you out. You know, you're the new guy there, and he's like, hey, you want to say anything? Hey, thanks. Where's the spotlight? So I told him what had happened. I'm bawling, crying. And what do? Something I still have never experienced until this happened. I stand up, they all come around me, hands on me. It was really, really cool. I knew at that moment these men would be a part of my life forever. I didn't even know him. I knew Tyson, and I'm stuck with him. But I knew no one else.
He tends to have that effect.
Right.
That's
right.
I didn't know.
And there's no better feeling than when you get out of that class and you stand in that hallway at World Outreach of all places. And they chant Jesus freezes. First time I heard it, I thought they said Jesus freezes. And I'm like, what's he stop? Oh, he stopped sin. That's got to be what it is. He's freezing sin. Stop. I didn't know what it was at first, but then they explained it to me. So I got it. And I'm like, oh, I'm down with that. Yeah. You know? I'm a DMX fan. I'm a soldier. You know? Big style, I like that. So, ever since that week, though, I made a devoted effort to make it to group, which is how I met every single one of you. Every single one of you. Other call. I didn't call growing up. I had no brothers growing up other than my god brother. But I gained you guys. You're more brothers than my god brother now. A lot has happened since then. I got baptized right after that. I started reading the Bible for the first time. I learned who my God is, who He was, and is to come. I learned that the love He had for me is unfailing. But what I also thought about was my God family and the seed that they planted in me, not from just words, but from actions. And by their never-ending, unfailing commitment to me, though I failed it time and time again, it really said something, because then I got to see it in God. And it almost replaced the void from my mom, because she was that person. So recommitment to me means a lot, because I was that Christian that got baptized at 11 without knowing God. I did it because my cousin did it at VBS, and all the girls thought it was cool. So when the time came for me to recommit truly with an authentic heart and with a genuine sense of who God was, I did it and got baptized again in the most beautiful way, a meaningful way. It was beautiful because it was in front of my wife and daughter. My daughter, who was 3, she's very smart. She still remembers it. She got to experience that, and I got to experience it with them. I got baptized by the man that I fought. And he was just trying to do what we're doing. God bless him for that. But he pursued me still. He still recommitted to me every time I failed him. Now, you guys there. You guys. Not all of you. You're there in spirit. But I love getting out of there. And I love praying for it. And the coolest moment, a proud moment, not proudness for myself, pride in my God, is to sit there and scream, Jesus frees us, after I got baptized. In my church. A church that I love. An authentic church, a real church. A Bible church. Not a theme church that pulls context from places and matches the topic. A Book of Acts type of church. That's what it is. So recommitment is meaningful to me. And in order for this beautiful mess of my life to make any sense and to explain the truth of it, I had to understand what I was recommitting to, why I was recommitting to it, and when I'm going to recommit to it. Well, the when was pretty obvious. It was now. But the why, you need to know and understand what you're committing to. Other than that, it's just false. Obviously, that's something I'm referring to as God, because He checks all those boxes. So what are we committing to? Do you truly know what you're committed to? When you say you follow Christ, do you know what it is? Do you know what He is? Do you know what He's done? Do you know what He's going to do? Truly? Or do you just know like the VBS version that I grew up knowing? He's gentle. He's loving. It's okay. Why is it so easy to recommit every January 1st to a workout routine? No, on December 31st, still not there. Why is it so easy to recommit to a career that we hate? Why is it easy to recommit to your education because you think that's going to make you better? Which it does. But it's not the purpose of your life. Why is it so easy to recommit to a budget every year? A budget. Why is it easy to recommit as being a dad or being a husband? Why is it easy to recommit to our failing football team, the Tennessee Vols?
Roll there.
But truly, why is that so easy? But choosing to commit or recommit to the creator of all that seems like it's just a little too tough sometimes. What's keeping us from recommitting to God? A loving Heavenly Father that's eternal. He doesn't fail us. We can only fail Him. You see, the when and the why and the what explain a lot. Because if you're not understanding what you're committed to, you're missing out on a clearly defined expectation from that thing. That clearly defined expectation should be that if I'm going to commit to this, it must have value, significant value. If I'm going to commit to this, I absolutely have to have a full understanding of what it is. If I'm going to commit to this thing cannot fail me, I can only fail it. Then it's worth committing to. Again, God checks all those boxes. So why is it hard? Let me say it like this. If I recommended that you should recommit to your finances at XYZ Bank, because if you open an account in your name as a bank account with $1 million in it, and it will never go away until you die. No matter how often you spend $999,000, or how often you make bad financial choices, no matter how often you choose to not be content with the stuff you have and buy, there will always be a minimum balance of $1 million in that account. Wouldn't it be considered stupid not to recommit a budget to follow that and say, yeah, I can get on board with this? It would be stupid to say that. You're guaranteed $1 million every single day of your life until you die. Because when you die, it expires. Right? Can we all agree that would be stupid not to recommit to it?
What are the terms?
You would. Lukewarm. Stroke it.
Sorry. There's some things I'm trying to get.
You know that account doesn't follow us into the afterlife though, right? I know it's hard to grasp in our little bitty minds about how far forever is or how long forever is, but forever is forever. Forever. That's forever. Think about that. If you got in a spaceship and you was going to travel forever, how far would you go?
All the way.
Forever.
Yeah.
You just go forever. We can't grasp it because everything has an end. Our mind shuts off, as walls have barriers. And that's the knowledge that we know. That's what we come to understand. That's our environment. So it's hard to understand that. How God is everlasting and forever. So why do we struggle with recommitting our lives and our purpose in life to God, an everlasting God that will never expire and has something provided for us that's worth a lot more than $1 million? Why is that hard? But these worldly things aren't. Therefore, since I just logically proved that it's been established as crazy to not recommit to that abundant financial account that's in your name, that will expire when you expire, it must also be true that it's logically established that it's even more absurd to not to recommit to a God that created that bank account in the first place, created you in the first place, gave you your breath, who is everlasting and will not expire when you expire. It's even more absurd to not recommit to that. So why recommit? I understand the what. I know what I'm recommitting to, but why? Why is that important? Paul explains it best in Romans chapter 3. He writes, everyone is a liar. You're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. I'm not going all the way around, but everybody's a liar, including myself. The whole world is guilty before God. The whole world. Romans chapter 3, verse 10 through 18. Let's read it. I'm going way off script, by the way. It's just
What was that?
Romans 3, 10 through 18. I'm almost done, by the way. Romans chapter 3, verse 10 through 18.
Oh, chapter 3.
The whole world is guilty before God. Starting in verse 10, it says, as it is written, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands. There is no one who seeks God. All have turned away. All alike have become worthless. There is no one who does what is good, not even one. Their throat is an open grave. They deceive with their tongues. Viper's venom is under their lips. Their mouth is full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and wretchedness are in their paths. In the path of peace they have not known. There is no fear of God before their eyes. That explained me to a T for that day. So as Paul is saying, no one is righteous. No one deserves to go to heaven. No one deserves to be in God's grace, His mercy, His loves. The passage, no one is righteous, not one person, what that indicates is our inability to secure salvation apart from God's provision. We need Him. We can't do it. Now, this does not mean that people aren't as bad as they can be. It could always be worse. Or that we cannot do good things from a human perspective because we have free will. We can choose to be really bad or really good. However, this is speaking about eternal salvation. Our situation is hopeless so long as we are left to ourselves. God's initiating grace must come first. Righteousness must come from God. It must. Can't do it on your own. Did you know that? You can do everything in the world on your own. I did. I made more money than I ever had in my life. I did this, I did that. I did great things, I did horrible things. But it was me, 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 me. What did it still leave me? Empty, broken, sick, flawed, poor. God's standard of good could be seen as a defeat to us as man. His perfect goodness carries perfect justice. It's hard as a man to accept that because we feel like we can earn everything we get. However, it could also be said that because He is so good, that His grace removes our deserved justice, making us righteous. He does that out of an act of love, saving those who trust and have faith in Him. That's all He asks for. So while His holiness required the just payment of death for sinners like you and me, in love, He paid the penalty Himself in the person, His only Son, Jesus, for the Savior indeed. I just met Him last year. So when is it time to recommit? Did you hear my testimony? Because your lifetime card could be punched at any moment. Any moment. Mark Hill says every second 7 people die. Every second 7 people die. Think about that. How many of them are going to one or two places? Forever. Forever, ever. It's like that. When's your second coming? We don't know. We're not meant to know. So when you ask that question of when should I recommit, because I think that could be me, the answer is now. You need to recommit now. If you don't ever hear anything else I'm saying to you, if you are lukewarm, if you even have doubts, if you are questioning anything about your faith, recommit now. Daily. Die to yourself daily. Recommit to Him daily. You have to. I'm telling you, this is the most important thing. I've looked through that end to what almost brought me to my end. Don't do that. Don't. Take my word for it, please. Every breath we have is a gracious blessing that we don't deserve. Your last breath is coming at an unknown time, so know that. I heard it once said that in order to can fruit, does anybody have a canned fruit in here? You can fruit?
Once or
Okay. In order to can fruit, you know what you got to do first? You got to sterilize the jar. You got to sterilize it. Sterilize. You got to sterilize it. Do you know why you got to sterilize it? I'll tell you why. Because you can't pour fruit into a dirty jar because it'll spoil.
You gotta sterilize that sink before you put corn and stuff in it, right?
Let's not get carried away. This quote is the resurrection. Sterilizing is the resurrection. Recommit to being a sterilized jar. Bet you never heard that. Be a jar head, but a clean one. Recommit to being a sterilized jar so that you will produce good fruit. When God looks at a committed follower, He sees the perfect righteousness of His Son Jesus, not the flaws of our dead past. To know that of all the horrible things I've done in the past, and they're back, to know that it's literally washed away as far as the east is from the west. Have you ever seen that line from the east to the west? Do you know where that line is? It's not there. It's just, that's how grand it is. It's not there. It's basically telling us, or he's telling us, I'll wash it away to where you won't see it, ever. When you have fear, recommit to trust. When you have greed, recommit to giving. When you have jealousy, recommit to celebrating. When you have guilt, recommit to forgiveness. When you have anger, recommit to love. When you want to fight, how about you fight for the fatherless? How about you fight for the loveless, the homeless, the divorced, the hungry, the poor? When you have any need whatsoever, recommit to the committed one. The one that's committed to us. So he can provide those needs for you. Recommitment is a responsible need because we live with too much fear, worry, anxiety, and doubt in this life. It ruins our joy. Show of hands, who has fear, anxiety, and worry and doubt? She's in here right now. Yeah. Thank you for being honest. Good for you, Thomas.
I'm good. I'm on fire, man.
If you have a fear, anxiety, worry, and doubt problem, so you got a heart problem. You got a priority problem. You got an identity problem. You see your priorities. Did you know that they lie in your checkbook and in your schedule? But the Bible's never written in there. I bet a long time with God's never written in there. Check your heart on that. What's in your schedules? What's in your checkbooks? That's what's important to you. That's what you spend most time on. So I challenge you to actually write it down. Write it on a calendar, dry erase board, something. Pencil a little bit of God in there for you. I think he definitely deserves it. We have the power to choose our priority, though it may come at a cost. The identity that we try to find ourselves, or that we try to find for ourselves, is that we think that our worth is based on our performance, and our performance is never good enough because our worth is gauged through the eyes of others. It's not from the one that created us. My worth is from my boss. My boss says I'm bad, I must be bad. It's an identity problem. You've got an identity problem. Stop trying to find your freaking value and your worth through the eyes of others, because what if those others are wrong? And they are. Did you know what I just said? You are a holy, righteous, blameless child of God. God sees you as His perfect, righteous Son. Isn't that amazing? That's your identity. That's where it's found. It's not found through the eyes of others. Flawed people think they know better for us. You'll find peace from God when you understand that. And you'll also find a new outlook on life. Don't become a statistic of an identity problem and a priority problem. Because I had all my priorities mixed up. It was me, money, business, Vols, Titans, Reds, family, and everything else. I had it all mixed up. But I can tell you the only thing I thought about when I thought I was going to die, when I literally couldn't take my last breath, do you know the only thing that ran through my mind? God and family. Now why is that? Why would I have an atheist mindset for the last 3 years, no thought of God, no relationship with God, but yet when I'm on my deathbed, lo and behold, that's the first thing in my mind. That's the first thing I reach out to. Explain that to me. Can anybody? Explain why an atheist would jump to a Christian like that. Fear. Fear of the consequences. Guilt. Ashamed. I didn't want to be held accountable. So that's why I did it. I've learned to do it out of love, appreciation, gratitude, thankfulness. And I got you guys to hold me accountable. So it's a blessing now. It was a burden before. The Bible gives us numerous references to fear not. Why do we fear every day? I always said the best analogy I ever heard. Fear and trust go together. You trust gravity first thing in the morning. That's the first thing you trust. Why do you trust gravity more than God? He created gravity. Am I going to trust the plane more than the pilot? No. Makes no sense. But yet we still do it. Flawed humans. Dealing with worry is very difficult because it's difficult to see the reasons why we worry. Worrying is so normal to us, it's almost natural. It becomes a habit, a lifestyle. Anxiety is an opportunity killer. Anxiety stems from unmet expectations. Don't do that to yourself, don't do that to God. God's telling you everything right here. He's telling you. This is the whole revelation of God. In word form. You can expect everything that He says, He's going to follow through with. Your anxiety comes from the expectations you set for yourself, or others might set for you, and they go unmet. Can't meet those goals, can't meet those needs. I can't satisfy that. Can't fulfill it. God can. He will. And if you trust in Him, you'll lose that anxiety. Because anxiety is destructive. In fact, did you know both worry and anxiety, in Anglo-Saxon terms, it means to strangle? That's where it comes from. To strangle. It strangles so many things for us. It's a killer. It kills peace. It kills our quiet and our soul. A worrier's mind is never at rest. Never. In Philippians 4:6, Paul says that we should pray and be thankful for everything. Prayer, or if you don't want to pray, don't pray. I hope that you do. That's the only line of communication, you and God. The only thing that matters. So whether you pray or not, it reveals where our hope lies. You see, a worrier is thinking to himself about problems because he is his own hope. Every day, it's running through your mind. Builds up more worry. You go to bed at night, it's like clockwork, it's just running. His mind is his own solution. He thinks, if I can just get a handle on this and figure it out, then I got it. I got it. I'm my own solution. He's looking to himself. A warrior only looks to himself. Don't be a warrior. Don't look to yourself. You can't do everything. God can. He can take care of everything for you. How much do you trust Him to do it? Do you trust Him like gravity? Paul says in Philippians 3:7-8, don't look to yourself, only look to God. I'll end it with this. I bet you're like, oh God. My end is 5 pages of it. Revelations, verse 20. When the Holy Spirit moves, you know. Revelation, verse 20. Verse 20, like no chapter, right? Chapter 3, sorry. Have you ever read where John sees the throne of God? What that sight is like? I know you're probably tired right now and I'm talking way too long. But,
It's just that hamburger movie, you know what I'm saying?
It looks at me like,
Got a
I'm
turtle?
talking.
you got a demon in there? You need to release it?
Great pleasure.
Chapter 4. Revelation chapter 4. It's a miracle in itself, and it's never talked about a miracle, that John sees the throne of God. He gets to go see it. What a beautiful, majestic sight it has to be, right? You know what he sees? We just studied Revelations in church. Have you ever really thought about that? What it looks like? It's pretty fascinating. It really defines how little we are. It says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. And if anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and eat with him, and he with me. And look here in verse 21, he says, to the one who conquers, I will give you the right to sit with me on my throne. Those are Jesus' words. He's saying, David, if you can conquer this world, if you can overcome this world, because through me you can't, on your own you can't. But if you do, you know what you get to see? I'll tell you what you get to see. John saw the door open and he looked up and saw the throne of God. John sees this throne with a being on it. That being is a person. It's God. He's glowing so bright, it looks like diamonds and rubies. There's lightning coming from his throne. There's roaring thunder and pillars of fire. It's a big sea of glass, similar to crystal that surrounds the throne. There's 24 men who are taking off their crowns, bowing down on their knees, getting on their face, and putting their crowns at his feet. And they're dressed in robes. There are creatures with eyes all over their bodies, with 6 wings on each, and they're surrounding the throne. 24/7 singing, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. There are 100 million angels surrounding the throne. And they're all praising Jesus. And Jesus is sitting there telling them, imagine being John at that moment. Hey, look, if you can look through the keyhole of eternity, if you can look through the keyhole of that, to get a glimpse of what that looks like. And Jesus is telling you, trust in me, overcome these things. You can sit right there with me. You can sit there with me. I doubt any of you would have a problem recommitting them. It's the Word of God. It's right there. It says it right in front of us. But yet we still choose to make it difficult. It shouldn't be difficult. I guarantee you John didn't have that problem when he came back. Right? So when you pray, I want you to pray to God and ask something very, very tough. I want you to ask Him to say, God, show me where I'm lukewarm, if I'm lukewarm. God, do whatever it takes to make me on fire for you. Are you willing to pray that prayer? Are you bold enough? Be bold. Be bold enough? Because you might not like the results. I didn't. Everyone was on a good walk. Everything was great. I was comfortable. I was in control of my new life. I call it discernment. I can control my environment. Nope, not today. No, I'm blocking these things out. A pecorino in there. But you know what I got? When I prayed that prayer, God showed me my sickness that I still have. Control and comfort. Trust. Because my little girl got diagnosed with a non-curable autoimmune disease, 4 years old, that she takes chemo for once a week that I get to. She walks daily through pain and swelling. She doesn't understand. She's 4 years old. She's innocent. She's perfect. She's sweet. She doesn't deserve that. I deserve something like that, not her. Why? I found myself right back where I was before. Why, God? I'm mad at you. Why would you do this? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. But through her diagnosis, it diagnosed me. It diagnosed me with a sickness that I wasn't even aware of that I still had. Not until I could not control what was wrong with me. As a dad, you want to fix everything. As a man, these make money for us. These do everything for us. When your daughter cries out to you, Dad, can you fix this? You fix it. Couldn't fix this. Out of my control. Her diagnosis diagnosed me as a comfortable control freak. And being uncomfortable and being out of control and then watching her suffer, it makes you suffer. And there's nothing like watching your little suffer. But she's inspired me because through those sufferings, I know what I recommitted to is true. I know what I recommitted to is worth it. And the fact that I recommitted is planting a seed in her. It's really something really special. She gives me the hope and faith I need every day. She strengthens me. So when you're ever feeling like the sufferings you're going through aren't worth it, I promise you they're worth it. I'm experiencing that right now. No one describes your heart and my heart better than Jesus. Just food for thought and I'm done. Jesus led captivity captive. The very triumphs of his foes he used for their defeat. He compelled their dark achievements to serve his end, not theirs. They nailed him to a tree, not knowing that by that very act they were bringing the world to his feet. They gave him a cross, not knowing that he would make it into a throne. They flung him outside, the gates to die, not knowing that in that very moment they were lifting up all the gates of the universe to let the king come in. They thought to root out his doctrines, not understanding that they were implanting permanently in the hearts of men the very name they intended to destroy. They thought they had defeated God with his back to the wall, pinned and helpless and defeated. They did not know that it was God himself who tracked us down, Track them down, bury them. He did not conquer in spite of the dark mystery of evil, he conquered through it. Though the process of suffering, and through it you realize how finite you are and how desperately you need the very presence of God to carry you through. We're all miracles. We're all miracles. There's no greater drama. There's no better feeling than the feeling of being free, without worry, without burdens, without flaws, fear, anxiety, guilt, etc. Experience that freedom of Jesus by accepting His offering and laying every single burden at His feet. Recommit now. I'm done.